All right, guys, let's take a look at the differences between certifications and certificates. And let's also take a look at what certifications really mean to the industry that you're going into. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. Whoops, I wanted to leave that up there. I wanted to tell you the truth is that you may not be aware, but once you get out there in the business, you'll realize that certifications are a big part of a lot of people's lives. Tons and tons of industries have certifications that are vital for people to get. And so the question becomes often from the student point of view, well, why can't I just get a certification and then go to work? And that's, you can. But something that you should have learned as you went through that assignment of trying to find a job is that there are a lot more jobs that are available to you if you have a 2-year degree and certifications. If you have both of those, then there's a lot more. I mean, basically, the world is your oyster. You can choose what you want. I mean, there's tons of jobs. If you only have a certification, there's a lot less. And if you don't have a certification or a 2-year degree, then there's much, much less. Now, on each one of those levels, right, 2-year degree, just a certification, or just a 2-year degree, and then I got nothing. I came out of high school. There's a huge pay difference between those. You know, when you're down here, they're teaching you a ton of stuff. So you're not going to get paid what this person with a 2-year degree and a certification has, right? So there's that too, is that you're dealing with not just availability of a job, but also what you can make in that job. So the best combination is to have a certification, an entry level certification, and to also have a 2-year degree. That is a must. And I'm going to tell you flat out, this is the certification that you want. That's a must. So we'll get into this a little more about what all this stuff is. But Network Plus is it, and that's the CMP 250 class. The only place that this would not be applicable to you is if you've decided to just do programming and you want to be a programmer. Then this doesn't so much help you. You better go after a programming certification instead of that one. But for everything else, not joking, everything else, you need this Network Plus certification. I should say it makes you very valuable if you have it. The reason why? Networking is in everything. I mean, networking is even in programming, so it's not going to hurt you there either, right? It's everything. You don't set up a computer and then don't network it, right? So this becomes the fundamental thing that you need to know. It really used to be A plus, which is one of the classes I teach. And this is a good one to get. Again, I would choose networking if I was only doing one. If I really wanted to make myself marketable, I would take both of these. That's what I would do. I'd take both of them. But the A plus one is really designed about a computer processor, you know, RAM, how it all works, how you fix it, that kind of thing. And that's becoming less important, right? In most industries, they don't fix a computer. They don't upgrade the RAM. They don't do any of that. And so usually they have somebody that knows networking and they're doing, you know, troubleshooting on the networking side of things. And then when something goes wrong with the PC, they just kind of assume you should be able to do that. Because if you can understand networking, then you can understand the PC stuff. And again, that's two different pieces of knowledge, really. But that is the way that the industry looks at it. So 2-year degree certification. These are the intro ones. All the rest of these are very specific, but you get paid a lot for them. For instance, this will take you to the Microsoft certifications and everything they offer. But these are all very company based, right? IBM has certifications down here. HP has certifications. Dell has certifications. But there's certifications in using their equipment, knowing how to set it up, how to troubleshoot it, how to upgrade it, all that stuff. They're very specific. These, again, all of Microsoft's, and they're a little more general. For instance, if you get a developer certification, that's not just, I know how to program, it's, I know how to develop software, get it implemented into the organization, and so on. And Cisco is all the networking stuff, routing and switching. And they test you on that stuff too. It's, I know how to use this equipment, and I know how I should have a router here and here and here and here. And I know that because I took the certification. So certifications are a vital portion of the industry. So where does the 2-year degree fit in? I mean, you're in a 2-year degree program right now. Is that a waste of time? No. As a matter of fact, I've had students return after getting these two and not be able to get a job and come back and get their 2-year degree. The 2-year degree is foundational and more important than the certifications, and this is why. A company wants to know that when you come to work for them, you're not going to shy away from the difficult things. You're not going to shy away from something that you just don't really like to do. And believe it or not, a 2-year degree shows that. How does it show it? Well, you came to learn computers, and that's what your interest is. But you also had to take that algebra class, and you had to take a biology class or an astronomy or geology or whatever you decided to take. And then you had to take world of music and world of art. And at the time, you're thinking, why am I taking this stuff? It doesn't have anything to do with what I want to know how to do. Well, the businesses and companies out there, the organizations, they want you to have that. Because again, if you love 80% of your job, that is awesome. That means you love your job. Well, it still leaves 20% that you really don't like to do. You just have to get through it. And having a 2-year degree, that's part of that. You're well-rounded, right? Part of that well-rounded doesn't just mean that you can think in different ways and analyze things differently because you took a world of music class, but it also means that you can deal with problems and situations that you just might not like to do, but you're gonna stick with it and do it. You're well-rounded, and that's a huge portion. It really is, to be able to say, okay, you get to do this stuff and this stuff and this stuff, and then you got to file this report, and this report takes you like an hour on every Friday to do, and you don't like it, but you're not gonna just not do the report. You'll get it done. And whether you realize it or not, a lot of that came from, of course, your upbringing and having to go to school and take classes that you really just did not want to take, did not want to be part of those, but you did it anyway, and you excelled at it. And that's important to an organization. So again, in that job of I'm trying to find my dream job and what kind of entry level job could I get that would lead to that, you should have noticed that, yeah, there are some jobs out there that you can get straight out of high school going into computers. And you can look at what the pay is and you'll see, oh, yeah, that's why I don't want that one. And then there's jobs that say, oh, you got to have A plus or network plus, or you have to have a 2-year degree. And then you have the ones that want both. So if you have both, then it opens up, you can take any of those jobs. You could apply for the one that just required high school, and you're well above everybody else in that. You're probably not going to want it, right, because of the pay. And you can take the job that only requires a 2-year degree because you have a 2-year and the certification, right? So that's the importance of it. And again, while you're at EAC, get that Network Plus certification for sure. If you can get the A plus one too as well, then do that. Then do that. Other classes we teach that really revolve around certifications is down here. I have EC Council, so I teach a security class, and that security class is ethical hacker, and you'll be prepping for a certification in that. And I wanted to do that because this one is actually a hands-on, a much more hands-on thing than this security one here. This is more general, boring. I used to teach that one. So it's much more hands-on, and it gives a student a real good clue as to whether or not they really want to go into security, because that field is just growing like you wouldn't believe. We can't keep up with it. We need people in that field. And I have a lot of students that are like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that security stuff. But you haven't tried it, so I don't know. So this one builds on this one. You got to have that networking class before you. So this is CMP 250, and then this is 285, which will be next fall. So fall of 2021, just in case this video is still out there in 2021. It's always in the fall, 285. This one's always in the spring, 250. That one's always in the spring. All right, so that's certifications and how they compare to education. Now, what are these certificates? Now, basically, certificates, to just say it plainly, they're easier to get. So there are certificates here at EAC that you can get, and I'm actually developing a new one that'll be like server security is what it'll be. Or I don't know what I'm going to call it, but basically, if you take the server class, which is 255, and then you also take the class you have to take, which is 285, you take the security one, and you take the networking one, which you have to take, right? Then you get the certificate. At the same time, you're getting your degree, and that's what colleges will often do and universities do. I have a public management certificate up there on my wall. Anyway, so these certificates, when they're offered from an institution like Eastern Arizona College, they're kind of built into the classes. And okay, this is the reason why we do it. There are some people that come and say, you know what, I don't care what you say, McBride, I'm not going to get my 2-year degree. So how can I look good on paper? And then we tell them, okay, we'll take these classes and you'll get a certificate. You'll spend a lot less time in school. You don't have to take World of Art, World of Music, and all that stuff. And you'll get a certificate while you take those classes. And then if you can also get that certification at the same time, right? Then you have a certificate and a certification. Not as good as the 2-year degree, because again, the 2-year degree is proving you can stick with stuff you don't like. The certificate is just showing that you know a certain content area and you're proficient in that area. So that's why I say it's easier to get. They take longer, obviously. You know, they're going to take a semester or 2 semesters. When a certification, if you wanted to, you could sit down and just start learning, crank it out, you know, and be done in a month. It's hard, but you can do it. And so these are easier. And then there's also, and I have this link down here, Grow with Google. You can check that out. And they offer a certificate. And the reason it's not a certification is because it's easy. Now, what makes it easy is not necessarily the information. The information is actually not super difficult. They do get into some stuff that's like, hey, that's really cool. But you can take tests over and over and over again. So to actually pass these tests and get this certificate, there's actually 5 in Google stuff, and that's CMP 155 and 156, which I tell students, you know, take it, get it, and I'll explain why in a minute. So you get this certificate through just taking this test. So if you take the test and fail it, then you can just take the test again, and you can take the test again, and then you can take the test again, right? You just keep taking the test until you pass the thing. That's not a certification. When you go get a certification, they want 2 forms of ID. You're going to plunk down a crap load of cash, you know, like, well, we think it's expensive. Some certifications out there are thousands of dollars. Ours are just only hundreds. You know, Network Plus is like $200 or something. But still, that's money, right, that you have to do. And then when you don't pass it, then you get to pay another $200 for your second attempt, right? That's a certification. That's a certification. And the industry looks at that at a much higher level because they know what you had to do to get it. A certificate, again, is more like, well, I know that content area. I took that stuff. So why would you want any of these certificates? Well, because when you first start out in the business and you want to fill that resume, what are you filling it with, right? It's good to have things on there. I got Google IT support certified. I got, actually CompTIA has one. As a matter of fact, switching over stuff. So networking, you'll be able to get a network, Test Out Network Pro certificate, which is not a certification, but it will be, actually they do call it a certification. But anyway, it's easier to get, but it becomes a talking point, and that's the serious thing there. When you put that down on your resume, they're going to be looking to see, you know, what do you have out there. So let's say you get your 2-year degree and you get Network Plus, and they look at that and they go, sweet, this is exactly what we're looking for. Then you have these other certificates on there, you know, whatever I called it at EAC, and you got that one, then you got the Google one, and they're kind of like, that's interesting. So they've gotten some stuff beyond what we asked. So that's impressive. And, you know, they'll put that in the pile and you get the interview. Now, really what it means is that in that interview, they're going to say, so I've heard some things about this Google certificate. What was your experience with it? What did you learn? And that gives you the opportunity to talk about it, right? You can just tell them the honest truth. Well, it had a ton of good information in it, and I got to do some pretty cool things like, and then you list out what you got to do, but it's not like the Network Plus certification I got, which was a very, very much more demanding certification than Google's was. And these ones for EAC I got from taking these courses. And then they can go, oh, well, wait a minute, what was in that server course? What did you do with servers? And then you could say, oh, well, I did VMware, and we actually took a bare metal server and we installed the VMware stuff on it. And then you go through what you did in that course. That's one of the reasons why I tell students take notes, because later on, when you're going to go into an interview, you can pull that up and you can say, oh, I put this stuff down. They may ask me about it. And then you don't go, yeah, it was really cool. We did VMware and we learned a lot. Okay, that's not a good interview, right? A good interview would be, yeah, we did VMware and we went from step 0, right? They gave our instructor gave us a server and we had to install the stuff. And then we installed operating systems within those VMs. And then we created a virtual network within those VMs. And then we made it talk to a server that we put into that VM. And then they're like, whoa, hey, you did some good stuff in there, right? And so certificates can lead to that. Certifications obviously do, but they usually don't ask you a ton of questions. Why? Because they already know what's on this test. They're not going to say, so what would you learn in Network Plus? If they do, that means they don't even know what the certification's about. This is so popular, everybody knows what it is, right? So certificates are usually talking points on your resumes. And so that's really where they're vital. And I say you need to pick up as much as you can. You got to get the 2-year degree, right? You have to get that degree, that AAS degree. Then you have to get a certification in something. And of course, that should be Network Plus. And then if you have time, A+, right? You get those because that's the benchmark for getting any job, starting job out there. And then you add on those certificates, which are much easier. You just make sure you take the courses you need at EAC and you'll get them, right? And then once you, for instance, do Google, that's just another thing that you put on there. You show that I'm trying to do everything I can to make sure I do the job right for you. All right, so let me jump over to EAC real quick. And some of this is changing. So hopefully by next semester, spring 2021, I'll have this done. All right, so you come to EAC and go to academics and you go to degrees and certificates. And then on degrees and certificates, you come down a ways because we are in the C's, so we can do computers right here. And this page is kind of weird because you have to read it. Computer programs, select another program, and they don't mean computer programs like designing a program. They mean educational programs, right? So there's our Grow with Google. And that's that certificate now available, and you can click that, and it'll give you more info. And then here, scrolling down, is our stuff. Right, so there's the AAS most people are in. If you're in the business one, then there's the ABUS. And here's the database support certificate. And then there's this personal computer systems and network certificate. And I'm going to change the title of this, and I'll probably have 2 certificates to go with this. So anyway, if we take a look at the suggested semester course plan, which is our course sequence guide, you'll see that, oh, wait, that class I'm in. Oh, I have to take 103. Oh, I have to take 151. Oh, I have to take 113. I have to take 250. I don't have to take this one. This one's going to change to 285. So it'll be CMP 251 or 285 is what that one will say. But you have to take that one. And then you have to take that one. And then you have to do this one, right? So if you want this certificate, you only have to go out of your way and take one other course, and you get this certificate when you graduate. And that's something else that you can put down on your resume. And then when they ask, right, then when they start to talk to you and say, well, what is this certificate? You can be honest. You can say, well, actually, pretty much I had to take the courses that I did when I was getting my degree, but I also had to take this course, which was really interesting. And that's the one I would like to focus on. And then you tell them a little bit about the server class. The data admin class is the same. So instead of the server admin, basically you take programming and all the courses that you normally would have to take, and then you take a database course, 250 or 280, sorry, not 250, 280, and you get that certificate. And I have students that are like, I'm going to get every certificate you offer while I'm doing my degree program because it's something I can put on my resume, and it's good. And again, I'm going to change this one out. So there'll be one that'll say like networking and security, and then probably one that'll just say computer systems. And so there'll be two others. They'll split it. But it'll be the same thing. You could end up getting all three certificates. If you have questions on this information, obviously, then you should ask me. That's important. But I think this is good enough to get you going. Oh, let's look at the assignment before I log off on this. I always got to move that box around on my box so I can see things. All right, so anyway, this is to get you started. This is to get you, like, you can just stick with this page if you want to and click these links and look at things. Or you can go out there and search for others that you would like to do. And if we look at, well, what is this page building to, right? What assignment is associated with this page? Because that's usually what I do, right? You have choosing a certification. So when you look at choosing the certification, then basically you're going to write 2 pages. We already know what you need to do on that, right? And then you just answer these questions. That's it. And then I even gave you some more. There's Amazon. They have some certifications. There's the VMware stuff. And a lot of this we can't offer. Like AWS, we can't really offer that because we would have to throw out every other class. In order to get AWS certified, it's like 6 different courses that you take. And then there's still the certification exam. So you don't get the certificate when you take those. Same with VMware. You know, we could make you guys all virtual server experts and you could get certified in VMware, but it's like 6 or 8 classes that you have to take. So, and for me, as I said, when I'm talking to students and I'm trying to get students to figure out what this world of computing is, this is just jumping to one destination. And not everybody's going to want to end up in virtual servers or Amazon Web Services, which is more data-driven and programming-driven. So these are there to kind of give you an idea of, oh, these are more advanced certifications that I might be interested in, right? And so you're going to answer these questions, and that's it. So can't say this enough, but it's important that you do your research. I give you these simple little assignments. They look like simple assignments. But if you're not actually looking at the information that I'm giving to you, then you're not going to get a very good grade on your assignment, because basically you look at this and then you spend 10 minutes trying to cram it in there and you write a paper, try to fill up 2 pages. And then I go, well, that's worth like 70, maybe a 60, right? It's like, oh, why did I do so bad? Well, you didn't really actually do any research. Actually go to CompTIA. Look at what it is. Look at all the things they offer. Then it's a piece of cake to write the report, because you could fill up 2 pages just with this question. Whoops. What does CompTIA offer? That's 2 pages alone, right? I don't want you to do that. You need to answer all the questions. Do your research and then write it, and the writing will come easy. If you have any questions, want some more information, anything I can help you with, let me know. Other than that, have a good day.